How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Plug with my co-host Ishmael, Siryon.
What up?
Joining us today, we have a couple of very special guests. That man Dooley out in California and my guy KC out in Iowa.
How we going?
Appreciate you, gentlemen, for being on today. Of course, if you are joining in for the first time or, of course, a returning watcher, please make sure you like and share on Facebook. If you are on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe to the Sports Plug channel. And we are streaming on Twitch at the Sports Plug, so please make sure you check us out on Twitch as well. Gentlemen, it's finally here. And then there were four. We are finally now in the conference championship games. The AFC, the NFC, the final four teams are here. And I don't know about you, gentlemen, but this playoffs have been very exciting from literally the first game with the Colts and Bills to where we are now. And I don't know about you, gentlemen, but I feel like we're going to be in for a treat. This is going to be two great games. And I'm excited. Let's go ahead and throw it to Ish. And let's go ahead and throw it to our guests and hear how they feel about what's going on this weekend.
Go ahead, Dooley.
Okay, so which game are we discussing? Just
go ahead. We can go ahead and start off with the NFC. We'll go ahead and start off with the NFC Championship game. Yes, sir.
Okay, so earlier in the season, we all know what happened. You know, we know Aaron Rodgers went into Tampa Bay and got dealt with. That was actually one of the few games I watched this season. However, considering the fact this game is in Lambeau, considering the fact the Packers have been on a good streak since then, considering the fact no quarterback left in the playoffs has more pressure than Aaron Rodgers to win the Super Bowl, I'm going to have to go with
We're going to hold on picks. I don't do it just yet. I ain't talking about the picks just yet. I'm just talking about we'll just hype up the game right quick, and then we'll get the picks in a couple minutes, Dooley.
Okay. So, as far as the picks, hyping up the game goes, man, listen, Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a tough tail ahead of them. They're going to have to run the football. They have no Antonio Brown, which is a key weapon, which is arguably their second best weapon, So they don't have their second best weapon playing, Hopefully Mike Evans and Godwin can step up. They can run the ball well. They might just have a chance. But I'm telling you, the passing attack with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams will be too much for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to contain. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, it wasn't too much weeks ago. Well, that was weeks ago. We know not to judge playoff games based off season games. Anyway, I don't have much to say about this until the picks. Go ahead, boys.
No problem. Let's go ahead and get it, KC.
Man, so we saw both these matchups week 6, I think it was.
Yes, sir.
I think we throw them both out, man. Chiefs Bills game had some weather. We might see some weather in Kansas City today. Might be similar conditions to when they played way back when, but seems like a lifetime ago at this point. But this NFC game, man, it's the same story we saw just a couple weeks ago with the Steelers and the Browns. It's turnovers. The story of the game is turnovers. If they don't turn the ball over when they did, as many times as they did, I think it don't matter. Those two turnovers back-to-back, scoring points off it, the Packers look defeated. Aaron Rodgers didn't even finish this game. I think you got to throw it out, and I think the Packers are going to be out for vengeance.
Now, like you said, week 6, this is a rematch of both of these games that happened on week 6. Weird. Now, who would have imagined on week 6 that would have been the conference championship games for this year?
It's a weird thing, you don't always see it, but I tell you what, I don't know. I just think the Packers are going to be out for blood after that last game. I think they gave up at halftime. I think they just knew it was over. They didn't have a chance. I don't think you saw the Packers team that you're going to see today coming out there and just being fired up.
All right, shout out to Jasmine. She's saying, go Pack, go. Lorenzo Guy saying, oh, shit, your boys in that house plugging the TV. I'm trying to watch some sports. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Ish, what your thoughts on this game right quick? Oh, he muted himself.
Sorry about that.
You're good.
Really, there's no need to hype this up. It's going to be a good game, and everybody who's been watching the playoffs should know that. Both teams have been playing really well. Two of the best quarterbacks of all time in this game. It's going to be a great game, regardless of how the picks go or who wins. I can pretty much guarantee that it's going to be a really good game. I'm looking at both defenses in this game to see how both defenses respond, because I feel like all the talk in the game has been, oh, Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady, and so on and so forth. Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady don't play defense. Last time I checked, Aaron Rodgers not going to be out there guarding wide receivers to stop Tom Brady. Tom Brady's not going to be out there guarding wide receivers to stop Aaron Rodgers. So I feel like it's a lot of disrespect to the defenses, especially Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has a really good defense. They were able to shut down Aaron Rodgers in Week 6, like Casey said. I'm throwing that out because that's so long ago. But these both defenses, Green Bay's defense played really well. They've been playing well in the playoffs. I think both of these defenses, they have a statement to make, and it's going to be whoever defense comes out ready to play, ready to make that statement against whoever you want to deem as the GOAT. That's what's really going to decide this game. I don't think it's going to be a lot of we're going to throw all these touchdowns or whatever. I think it goes back to that New Orleans game. Whoever's throwing interceptions, that's who's going to lose this game. I feel like New Orleans lost that game because Drew Brees was throwing those interceptions. And if the Tampa Bay defense can do that again against Aaron Rodgers threw 2 picks earlier in the season against them, that could help them. It's a turnover battle, really, is all it is.
All right, I like the words that you gentlemen are speaking, because you guys are 100% correct. And let's go ahead and speak a little bit on the AFC Conference Championship game before we go back to the NFC Championship game and talk a little bit more in depth on that one. The Chiefs, 3 AFC Conference Championship game appearances at this moment with this new dynasty trying to form in Kansas City. Are they able to defeat Josh Allen and the Bills today and earn another trip to the Super Bowl, Dooley?
Oh, it's absolutely possible. I mean, when you got one of the best offenses of all time, when you got one of the best young quarterbacks this game has ever seen, it's like man, it's inevitable. However, the Bills are having a great season, and I feel like we're underestimating the Bills, the majority of people, and how good the Bills actually really are. And Josh Allen, if Josh Allen can grab himself a win right now, this would be the beginning of his legacy. Beating Mahomes, headed to the Super Bowl, and possibly having a good chance at winning the Super Bowl. Hey, for God's sakes, the Buffalo Bills need it. Let's just be honest. It's one of the most underachieving franchises in NFL history. The Bills, have they won it yet?
They've been to 4 Super Bowls, no Super Bowl victories.
No victory. Right. That's what I thought. So it's gonna be a great game, actually a better game than most of us expect.
I agree. I agree.
Yes, it's also going to be a game, just like you guys were saying. I think what this game comes down to, considering the fact Buffalo has a great offense as well, this game's going to come down to time of possession and turnovers. Like, it's going to be the tail of the tail. Can Josh Allen keep Mahomes off the field by holding the ball, running the ball? You know what I mean? Because right now, Josh Allen to Diggs is actually, in my opinion, the best wide receiver quarterback connection left in the playoffs.
Ooh, that's some words right there,
man.
Over A-Rod and Adams.
Okay, A-Rod.
I'm just asking.
No. Hey, it's definitely between those two forces. Because Josh Allen and Diggs right now, it's like Allen could have his eyes closed, Diggs will be there. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree on that one.
It's beautiful to watch.
They got the Mahomes and Hills connection. I will say that.
Exactly.
And speaking of that, KC, what you got from me?
Man, I don't know. I'm just ready for the game to be here. That's where I've been all week. But I think we saw the running game be the major factor the last time they played. We talked about throwing that out. Really, I'm staring at the active list. I'm waiting to see what happens there. We know Mahomes is playing. Cool, that's great. I want to know if CEH is playing.
He's playing.
Rashad Breeland just cleared. Yeah, he was playing last week too until an hour and a half before the game.
I know.
Active. So I'll wait until he's on the list and I see him on the field. Rashad Breeland just cleared concussion protocol. I mean, as much as I'm sick of after plays seeing him go, my fault. Someone's got to cover Diggs, and no one else on this team is going to come close to doing it. So I need to see him out there too. I think we're going to. So I think we're going to see these teams at full force. Man, I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to not be the same game as last time. Neither of these teams are going to be able to run the ball today, I think. I think we're going to see some air yards. I think that's where we're going to be today.
All right, Ish, let's diving a little bit into it, a little bit some more, and let's go ahead and dive into the NFC Conference Championship game after your words, Ish.
No, for this game, I think it's definitely, like I said, for the other one, it's another whose defense is going to step up, whose defense is taking it personal. All this talk about Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, who has the stronger arm and all that, whose defense is really ready to make the noise. On the Bills side, I don't really know. The thing about the Bills is we know, and I've said it all playoff long, they struggle against the run. Casey's saying he doesn't think the run game is going to be a factor today. If you're a Bills fan, you hope so. Because they gave up 245 earlier in the season to the Chiefs in the run game, which led to over 400 yards of total offense versus the Bills only 200 and something total offense. So the run game played a big part. And to me, the Bills defense hasn't done anything to really correct that. They've actually continued to be poor against the run. And that is where today, if the Bills can't stop the run, they have no chance in this game. Like it's as clear as that.
I mean, we saw it last week. I mean, you're repeating yourself like you said last week with Lamar. If they can't stop the run, they're gonna have no chance. And we saw them stop the run.
Well, they didn't really stop the run. They kind of did all right, but it wasn't like a full-on stop the run. The problem that you have, X, that you're trying to bring back to Lamar Jackson, the problem that you have is there's a difference of like slowing the run down against Lamar Jackson and slowing the run down against Patrick Mahomes. Because Patrick Mahomes has Tyreek Hill and he has Travis Kelce. So you slow the run down and you just get beat through the air. Or you stop the run and then you force them to just throw the ball. Like you're gonna have to find a way to not just slow the run down, because the problem with the Kansas City offense is if they have any sort of run game, it makes defending that team all that much harder.
Of course, it opens up everything.
Think about Tyreek Hill. You want to put somebody over the top of Tyreek Hill, but if they're running the ball, you got to bring somebody down into the box now. So if you're bringing that person into the box, Tyreek Hill one-on-one over the top, bam. You don't want to go one-on-one with Travis Kelce. These are the things that I think is the key to the game. The Bills they must stop the run with just their front seven. They can't put 8 in the box, because as soon as they put 8 in the box, Travis Kelce beats him one-on-one. Tyreek Hill beats him over the top. Like that is the key. You got to use just your front seven to stop the run. That is what I've been looking at all season. I've been watching film of the Bills, trying to see if they've shown any instance of that all season. And to be honest, it's hit or miss. Sometimes they play really well against the run with the front seven. And then there are other times where you're just wondering what is going on this defense. And that is where I think, as a Kansas City fan, obviously I'm hoping that they don't stop the run. But I think that they are going to come out ready. And it's going to be, especially with CEH being injured, coming back in, I think that they're going to put – I'm not saying there's a bounty, but they're putting a mark on his head. They want to hit him hard. They are going to be coming out ready to lay the wood on him every time. The Chiefs secondary is the key for me. Like Casey said, Breland coming back.
Right?
Diggs has been a man on a mission. And I don't want anybody who's somewhat hurt, or I just don't want anybody who has any questions to be guarding that man, because I think I agree with Dooley. That is the best wide receiver quarterback connection all playoffs. I think that has been the best wide receiver quarterback connection all playoffs. Allen to Diggs, because in the time when they need it, who is he throwing to? Everybody should know by now they're throwing to Diggs, and for some reason, nobody can stop him. Diggs is making play after play. He scored a touchdown earlier in the year against the Chiefs, and that was with a healthy secondary. Now you don't really have a healthy secondary. I don't know, man. It is going to be a big question mark as far as both defenses and how they are going to come out. I think whoever sets the tone early has the best chance of winning this game.
I love the words Ish, and I'm pretty sure the person that loved the words more than anything besides Adam Diggs is probably Kirk Cousins. And with that being said, we're going to go right into the NFC game. The Buccaneers versus the Packers, be a 3:05 Eastern time on Fox. The weather should be about 30 degrees with a little light snow. So advantage, of course, the frozen tundra and, of course, Aaron Rodgers with that Packers team. Now, again, we just talked about the weather maybe being a factor in this game. It was supposed to snow 2 to 4 inches from Saturday to Sunday with a little bit of light snow during the game. If it is like this throughout the game, we saw what happened when Tennessee went up to Lambeau, and they pretty much were not able to get their footing until the third quarter, and it was pretty much game over from there. If things like that happen for the Packers, could this game maybe be over before it actually gets started just because of field conditions? Anybody can go.
Absolutely, it will be. But it won't be over because of Tom Brady. It'd be over because of the rest of his team not being ready to come play football. Okay. By the way, quick shout out to my man in the jersey over there drinking a cold one before 12. Okay, I love it.
It's got to go.
Okay, you know that's the game day spirit.
If I were there, I'd be drinking in the parking lot. So I'm just treating it like I'm at the game.
And I've seen it personally. He's not lying.
I love it. So, honestly, the frozen tundra coming from Florida to Wisconsin is obviously a different change in weather. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers do not play in the same weather the Green Bay Packers do. However, their star quarterback has been playing in that weather his whole career. So who knows if he can have a talk with his boys, kind of tell them what to expect, because I feel like if anybody folds today, it won't be Tom Brady, folding, So, but I hear you on the frozen tundra, and they're lucky the fans aren't there, because if the fans were there, it'd be even that much tougher,
Fans are actually going to be in the stands. They are letting fans in Lambeau for this game.
Okay, that's cool, because some teams are allowing maybe like 33% of the stadium or something like that.
Yes, it just all depends on, of course, the stadium, and all depends on what state they were in. But for these two games, they will have fans, and also the Super Bowl will have fans as well in Florida.
Okay, yeah, man. So we can pick now, right? Basically, right?
Not yet. I know you itching. Itching, Dooley. I got you, baby. I promise, I got you. Go ahead, throw the KC right quick.
Yeah,
man. The big storyline from this, I don't think anybody's really talking about. And I mean, it's similar to the CEH situation with Kansas City. You got a guy coming back in Vita Vea that, man, I think that's a big deal. I made my pick for this game before that happened.
Now, I'm sorry to cut you off, KC. Now, do you feel like do you feel like Vita has been a little bit of a disappointment because of what we've seen from him in college? We were expecting him to be that guy from college, and in the NFL, he just have not been that. Do we expect to see the college Vita in this game, though?
I think he complements that line here very, very well, and that's part of the way that they did this the last time when they beat him in week 6. They're getting pressure. They were the last team to send full blitzes and make Aaron Rodgers turn the ball over. I think that's the formula. That's the key for them to win this game, is for them to get that pressure. Basically the same formula that we were talking about there with the other game. You get the pressure with your front, front four or whatever, and that's it. You got to be able to stop everyone else behind. That's the key. That's how it works. I'm not saying I think it happens, but that's how it happens. And I think Vita Vea coming back, it doesn't make them worse. That's for sure.
Ish, what you got for us?
No, I agree. Casey actually took my hidden gem there with Vita Vea, because that was what I was gonna bring up. People aren't talking about him coming back. It does not hurt them. It actually helps them, because if he is able to be even close to what he has been earlier in the season for them, especially against Green Bay, that changes this game. But just to hit a different point, I think I was talking about the run game for the Chiefs. Dude, the run game for the Packers is going to be big. People have not been talking about Williams running the ball, talking about Aaron Jones running the ball. They have been running the ball in the playoffs, and that, I think, has been a big thing for them.
Don't forget about AJ Dillon up there doing.
Yeah, AJ Dillon. I mean, they are running. The Packers have been running the ball, and I think that is what last week I think was a big factor in that. You know, the Rams came out and everybody was talking about the matchup of Jalen Ramsey and Devontae Adams, but that the running game is something that you have to be ready to stop. Tampa Bay has been good at stopping the run. But I think playoff football is just different. Playing in that snow is just different. I mean, that's where I'm concerned. Even with Vita Vea coming back, one of the things that's a little concerning is any player coming off of an injury playing in the snow.
That's not fun at all.
That's not the kind of game you want to come back to. That's not the environment you want to come back to because cold, and just kind of wet after you get in the snow, that on the muscles, everything is just not a good situation. That is concerning for me. And I think early on, if they come out and they establish the run, I think Green Bay definitely may have a chance to run away with this one. And I'm talking about more than 2 scores, win this one. If they can come out and establish that run against that Tampa Bay defensive line.
I just want to throw in my quick 2 cents before we get into picks. Just give everybody a heads up on some quick stats because I know people love some stats. Season average when it comes to points per game and points given up by the Tampa Bay Bucks. The Bucks score about 30 points per game. They give about 21.5. The Green Bay Packers score about 31 points per game and give up 18. So what we're pretty much are hearing is they pretty much are almost identical. So it's going to come down to those little things like we talked about, Ish and KC and Dooley, the turnovers, the time of possession. This is things that we talked about all postseason long. That's just going to come down to those simple things. I feel like in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter, in that second half of the game, who is going to be the one that's going to not cause us to lose this game? That's what it's going to come down to. All right, so let's go ahead and get it to picks. I know Dooley ready. I know we all ready. Let's go ahead and get it to these picks. And surprisingly, no clean sweep today. With the Packers, we have a very, very surprising pick by my boy Ishmael. You want to explain yourself with the Buccaneers?
I just think that I know we're throwing out the game from week 6, but I think the blueprint is there. That for me, it is a different game. Every time you play a team, it's totally different, right? But there is a such thing as having the blueprint of how to beat a team. I would argue, just for the sake of making this argument, that the Raiders kind of have the blueprint for playing against the Chiefs. Like they built their team to play against the Chiefs. They know how to approach playing the Chiefs, and they're ready when they play the Chiefs. I think, and I believe that Tampa Bay has the blueprint for Aaron Rodgers. I just don't think that Aaron Rodgers, I think he's going to play better than he played in week 6. I think that the offense is going to show better than they did in week 6. I don't expect 2 picks out of Aaron Rodgers, but I do believe in this Tampa Bay defense. I do believe that they're able to stand up when they need to, and they have made plays when they needed to. Drew Brees last week, they were able to make the plays when they needed to make the plays. They kept it close. They kept them in the game. I expect more of the same. I expect them to do the same, and I just don't have as much faith in that Green Bay defense. To me, I think if you're looking at one defense in the Final Four grouping and you're saying this defense maybe to me is just a defense that will let the offense down, I think it's Green Bay's. I think Green Bay's defense is the defense that'll let the offense down. And I think Tom Brady is poised to get back to the Super Bowl. He's poised to make noise and let everybody know he's the greatest, like we were talking about before the show. How are you going to make an argument against Tom Brady when you start talking about his road to the Super Bowl and the quarterbacks that he beat, and then potentially even going to the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl, even if it's over Josh Allen? I still think that people are going to look at the stats for this season and say, man, look at the quarterbacks that Tom Brady had to beat to get there. That man is the greatest of all time. And I think Tom Brady has it within himself, and he wants to be that guy. I think he just wants to be that guy. I think he's going to come out. He's going to play. We're not going to see Tom Brady who throws the game away with throwing these pick sixes all the time. And I think the run game, the run game for Tampa Bay has been really good all season when they're healthy. Leonard Fournette, a really strong tough running back. And then you also got Ronald Jones, who also is a really strong back. I think they're going to establish the run. They're not going to lean too hard on Brady. He's going to make the plays when he needs to make the plays, even without Antonio Brown, because Dooley, I know you want to say that. And I think that they are going to eventually pull out a close, maybe 3-7-point win over Green Bay.
All right. Dooley, you got something to say? You got something to say right quick?
Yeah. Oh no. You know, that whole soliloquy was nice and all, Rich. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Dooley.
Yes, sir. So when it comes to this game, you know, we all know I had Tom Brady in the NFC Championship. The reason why I'm not going with Tom Brady is because I feel the pressure which Aaron Rodgers has. How can you let Tom come into your house, the quarterback that everybody's been comparing you to? The only quarterback, put it this way, Aaron Rodgers would have been the best quarterback of this era if Tom Brady didn't exist. Probably, you know, but unfortunately, Tom Brady exists and he's coming for blood. Okay. However, I got the Packers winning this game, but I do want to say, going back to that Week 6 matchup, the reason the Packers lost to me was not because of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They had a bad game. Like when you talk about some of the worst, exactly. When you talk about some of the worst games ever, like they just came out like a dud. You know, they didn't come out playing Green Bay Packer football. And that is why they lost 38-10?
Yeah.
It was a blowout.
It was a blowout.
Now, mind you,
dude, they came out and they scored a field goal and a touchdown in their first 2 drives. What do you mean that they didn't come out playing Green Bay Packer football? They came out and scored 10 points to no points from the Buccaneers.
Not about how you start. It's not about how you start. It's about how you finish.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh! Exactly. He said they came out.
Ain't about how you start, how you finish. I don't want to hear
that. Exactly. Now, so this game is like, it's just like I said, it's going to come down to turnovers. It's going to come down to time of possession. Okay. Now, and I think Aaron Rodgers will make the plays necessary in order for his team to get over the hump and head back to his second Super Bowl in his career. Okay.
That's sad.
How is that sad? Drew Brees only got 2. Relax.
But I mean, for Aaron Rodgers, the guy who we tout as being, you know, potentially the GOAT and could be the best of this era. I mean, it just seems so sad that he's only been to 1 so far.
Yes. I mean, it's tough to get there. I mean, what's Tom Brady? Tom Brady makes it look easy, but it's not easy. It's tough to get there.
I understand it's tough to get there. I'm just saying, for Aaron Rodgers, the guy who Aaron Rodgers is, and the Packers, let's be honest, the Packers are a strong team pretty much every year. It just seems something about that seems wrong.
I got a question, Ish. Didn't you just say 5 minutes ago Aaron Rodgers don't play defense?
I did say that.
Okay, so with that being said, he can be a surgeon all he wants to on the offensive side of the ball and slice up defenses all he wants to. But if the defense, I'm not making no point. What I'm saying is I'm letting you know why Aaron Rodgers have not been to a second Super Bowl until today. Hopefully he'll make that second one. We'll see. Now, one thing I will say is, and I don't know if, you know, I know Dooley might agree with me on this, but Tom Brady low-key is pulling to LeBron James. A lot of people said Tom Brady couldn't do it without Belichick. He couldn't do it out of the AFC East. He couldn't do it no more because of his age or whatever it is. He went up to the NFC, didn't win the division, but beat Drew Brees when it mattered, and now in the NFC Conference Championship game, and also could be in the Super Bowl and could win. I don't think he wins it this year, but I think he pulls the LeBron and wins it in his second year in Tampa Bay.
LeBron makes it there and loses to a great dynasty.
The only reason why Tom Brady is going to lose in the Super Bowl is if he's playing Eli Manning and a very special catch happens, and that's not going to happen this Super Bowl.
Yeah, and you guys aren't a dynasty yet, just for the record.
You got to, not yet. Y'all sound like the Astros. Y'all need to win more. You need to win more before you call yourself a dynasty. Don't do that.
Yes.
All right, speaking of dynasties, Bills and Chiefs, let's go ahead and talk about this game. I know my friends are ready for this game. We see the Super Bowl banner back there behind KC. This could be Super Bowl number 2 for these guys if they're able to get through this conference championship game and, of course, win the Super Bowl. Now, I feel like, honestly, and I'll let y'all talk and I'll come back to me, I feel like there's a lot of disrespect for the Buffalo Bills. I feel the same way that I heard a lot of Chiefs fans were talking about the Cleveland game. Coming into the Cleveland game, there were a lot of Chiefs fans saying they're going to blow Cleveland out. Cleveland don't even match up with this team. Casey is shaking his head because he know I'm right. There are a lot of people that felt like Kansas City had it in the bag.
If Mahomes plays that game, Cleveland does get blown out. They were up 19 points at one point. Let's calm down.
I got you. What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, we play the game on the field. It doesn't play. We don't play it on paper because anything can happen. Injuries. Somebody can get corona in the halftime and can't play a second half. Who knows? What next corona event that has to happen during the game. So what I'm saying is that I think Buffalo has a bigger shot than what people are giving them credit for. And before I go on my soliloquy, I'm gonna let Dooley go ahead and talk. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, absolutely. The Buffalo Bills have a great shot at winning this game, okay? They absolutely do. One of the top offenses in the league. Josh Allen has something to prove. For God's sakes, nobody on that Chiefs defense can tackle the man. I got Josh Allen running over his first defender today.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I said it.
Uh-oh.
That's a big boy on the move-ish, and you know it. Okay, now, the Kansas City Chiefs, obviously, they have an unstoppable onslaught. Honestly, they have the best offense since just about the 07 Patriots, the greatest show on turf. I don't know. They just have a great offense, okay, and it's unstoppable. So, it's just crazy to me how great that offense is. And no matter what the Buffalo Bills do today, they will not be able to stop that offense, okay? So it doesn't matter how this game goes as far as Buffalo's just going to have to come out and play hard. But I don't see anything that they do or can think about. Because let me tell you right now, the way you beat the Kansas City Chiefs is not even – you beat them through film. You have to watch these boys and what they do. And if you don't master what they do, you will not beat the Kansas City Chiefs, okay? So I'm hoping the Buffalo Bills have a great game plan. Their coaches came to play. They put the game plan together, and we're going to see what it do. But going back to what Ish said earlier, I don't even think you can put 7 in the box, okay? The Buffalo Bills today are going to have to stop the run with 6, okay? They're going to have to stop the run with 6, and they're going to have 5 on the back end.
Wow.
Because the back end is what's scary. Okay.
I look at it like this, Dooley. If a team if they really want to stop the run, play it like they do Derrick Henry. Put 5 on the line. Put a backer behind them and let the DBs and safety play. Make sure that they keep everything in front of them and let anything behind them, because that's how you stop the run. And until you make them, either pass that line of scrimmage as a running back and not of course get hit in the backfield, or of course the offense change up their offensive game plan. That I've seen a lot of defenses change that way to where they, instead of putting 4 down linemen, they're putting down 5 now. And I think that's a very interesting way to go about playing defense, because it does put more pressure on your DBs. But if you're able to get the ball out of a quarterback's hand a little bit quicker, or you're able to get that stop with a 2-yard gain instead of it being a 25-yard gain, it works.
Exactly, because honestly, see, and I'm glad the Bills don't listen to this man Ish. He's trying to set them up for failure. Talking about 7 in the box. Why? So on the back end, Kelsey and Hill can be one-on-one.
Hey,
Yeah,
I said if they can't stop the run with the front 6. That's exactly what I said. If they can't stop the run, like, you're making the point exactly of what I'm thinking is going to happen. Like, they are going to probably try these adjustments and try to stop it with just the front 6, right? The problem is, they have not shown consistently throughout the season that they can stop with just the front 6. Even last week against the Ravens, that was not just the front 6. They were running blitzes that was stopping that read option that Lamar likes to run and stuff like that. Like, they were blitzing people because they knew Lamar couldn't beat them over the top. The problem you have with the Chiefs, and that they always present to you, is if you want to stop the run and you can't stop it with the front 6, and you start bringing these blitzes, or you start bringing safety down to the box, it puts you in a bad situation one-on-one with Kelsey, puts you in a bad situation one-on-one with Tyreek Hill. And I mean, I would even say they're testing Sammy Watkins. If Sammy Watkins plays, you need to remember last year in the playoffs that Sammy Watkins actually went off late in the playoffs because people started to key on Tyreek Hill.
Please don't remind me about Sammy Watkins in the AFC Conference Championship game. Oh my God.
So that's what I'm trying to tell you.
That hurt my heart.
Sammy Watkins, what my key here is, the Chiefs are not healthy. People are not talking about how the Chiefs are not healthy. They have a lot of players that have been banged up that are coming back maybe today. We don't even know their status. Like I can't trust.
And let's also talk about Mahomes. Let's also talk about Mahomes' foot.
Yeah.
There we go. I know that's we haven't talked about. Everybody keep talking about the concussion, but let's talk about the left toe first for a quick second, Ish and KC.
Yeah, he's a mobile quarterback. He's a mobile quarterback when it's cold outside. Okay, let me just say, as somebody who had turf toe, you do not understand when it is cold outside and you have to plant and make movement, like quick movements with turf toe. That is one of the worst injuries to have. It is one of the worst, especially on the field if it's hard packed because of how cold it is. It could be a long day for Patrick Mahomes. It could be a very long day of like trying to move, trying to plant, evading the rush. I think the pressure, but that's where I think the Bills may feel good about that and want to bring the pressure and potentially get beat over the top. Exactly. That's what I'm hoping. But they may not. They may be able to get to him with the front six because of the turf toe.
Casey, what you think about that?
Man, the thing that Mahomes has done so well over his young career, we'll say at this point, is that third and long, that third and medium. He's able to get out of the pocket and scramble and make plays happen. That's where I'm a little concerned coming into this game. I think you could see a world where he's just not as mobile and he's not getting out there and maybe they're turning the ball over that way, not necessarily interceptions or fumbles or whatever, but fourth down, punting the ball on fourth down. That's something that we don't want to see a lot of today, and we might because maybe he's not as mobile on those third downs. We'll see. I can see him. He's a young kid. He's going to try it, but it worries me that they even running him out there like they did a couple times last week. Do we not learn anything in that Denver game last year? Just let the kid throw the ball.
I will say this: the best thing about Mahomes is that he's not a typical quarterback that needs to have his foot planted in a certain way to throw the ball. He can throw the ball literally throwing it behind his back. He could throw it. You could throw it underarm. He can have his plant foot probably pointing the opposite side and still throw a touchdown. So that's the greatness of Mahomes, to where he can elude those little things and still make great throws. And that's going to be very interesting to watch and see if the turf toe will affect him the same way that Ish speaked of. I've had toe injuries myself, and they're not fun to deal with at all. I'd rather have a broken or separated shoulder any day than something wrong with my toe. That's just honestly how I feel on that one. Before we get into picks, I just want to throw out there, Chiefs are only a 3-point favorite. And for my betting people out there, especially my guy KC, made a little money last night off that McGregor fight.
Sure did.
Is this something that people might want to throw a little money out here over under 54 and a half?
I think I'm in the minority. I really, really like the over in this game. I think Buffalo is going to come out slinging it.
I agree with you.
Jump out to a quick lead, and that's going to sort of cut that we're going to run the ball and kill the clock game down for a little while. I've got this game going over handily, but I think 3 points is about right. I think either way, that's where we're going to end. It's going to be a close one. I don't see a blowout in this one like I do on the other side.
I agree.
All right, let's go ahead and get right into the picks then. And as y'all can see, it is a clean sweep for the moment. I was going to be the guy to pick the Bills.
Yeah, do it.
Now, what I am going to tell y'all, and I'm going to throw some stats out right quick. The Chiefs, points per game during the season, 29. They give up 17 points per game. The Bills score 31 points per game and give up 13.5. What I'm saying is, and you can do that all you want to, I think their first game of their postseason against the Colts was one of those first pregame jitters. Postseason jitters where everybody had to get acclimated into the postseason. We saw them play really well last week, and I think it carries over. And I think that the Chiefs are still going to win, but the Bills will keep this very close, and this might be the start of something beautiful with Josh Allen and the Bills moving forward, because what I see with Josh Allen is he's this generation version of Jim Kelly for the Bills.
I mean, I don't disagree with the fact that it's going to be a close game. I'm rolling my eyes because, if you're thinking 13 points from the Chiefs, then something's wrong with you. But I think, like Casey said, it's going to be a shootout, and I think it's going to be a close game. I think the reason why you see the Chiefs average 29 points per game is because I say this all the time, X. I say this to everybody that always questions the Chiefs, and they're like, "Oh, well, why doesn't the offense look so dangerous this year? Why aren't they scoring?"
Y'all trying to save it for the playoffs and win a Super Bowl. I know what you keep saying.
They do what they need to do to win the game. Like, they do just enough to win the game. That's what that offense does, and that's why I think they'll win. I think it'll be a shootout, but I feel like no matter what happens, when it comes down to the fourth quarter and that offense needs points, right? They always find a way to get the points. That's one thing you can always say about Patrick Mahomes and this offense. Whenever they need something, you say they need the third and long. Look against Cleveland. Everybody was like, "Oh, man, third and long," and you thought we were going to throw the ball.
It was Henny time.
And he rolls out.
It was Henny time.
And then it makes it 4th and 1. We get the 4th and 1. We end the game. Like, that's what this offense does. They do enough to win the game. And
so what you're saying is Michigan quarterbacks out here saving your team out here as always. Is that what you're saying? No, Ohio State quarterbacks and your Ohio State quarterbacks out there let's get
somebody else as the backup.
I'm just making sure. All right. Okay, Dooley, you want to speak on this game quick before we head on to the next topic?
Yeah, no, I just had one quick thing to say. Going back to those stats you just brought up, they were season stats, obviously. Now, let's look at the playoff stats. The Buffalo Bills have the 3rd worst defense in the playoffs so far. That's bad when you're talking about dealing with the Kansas City Chiefs. There's no way this game will not be at least a 10-point victory on the Chiefs.
Wow.
And I'm basing that off the Buffalo Bills and that trash of a defense they had. Come on, you could barely contain Lamar. Yes, Lamar only had 3 points, but Lamar was moving the ball. Okay, so honestly, that game was closer than people think. The final score was 17-3, but that game was close. You know, the Ravens versus the Bills. But anyways, the Bills have the 3rd worst defense in the playoffs, man. That's bad when we're talking about dealing with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I get it. During the season, they averaged 13 points a game. They were killing it. But as we often say, the season doesn't matter. Let's just throw the season out. Their last 2 games defensively have been trash, and offensively, not impressive. They weren't impressive offensively against the Ravens.
I mean, giving up 3 points in the game, I mean, that's pretty impressive in a postseason game. But
there were two unlikely Justin Tucker missed field goals.
Who gives a damn? Who gives a damn? Okay, it alters it all it wants to, but guess what? That's football.
Hold on, let me top it off though. You're right. 2 Justin Fields missed field goals, and you say 3 points. Okay, to a quarterback that can't throw. Add that on.
That's true.
What are you talking? First of all, Lamar Jackson scored a touchdown. Okay. It was 101 yards. Y'all didn't see the touchdown?
Be quiet. The pick six is what he's talking about.
Y'all didn't see the 101-yard touchdown he threw?
No, you're right. Yeah, to the house.
Yeah, to the house. So what are you talking about? Lamar Jackson threw a beautiful ball to the other team for a touchdown.
Yes, he throws great touchdowns. Great.
All right. No more clowning on Lamar. Let's go ahead and wrap it up with this last topic for the day. Of course, we are talking, of course, conference championship games, but breaking news in the NFL, Matt Stafford and Detroit Lions are going to go ahead and part ways, which, let's be real, I think is best for both parties. Looks like the Lions are in rebuild mode, and Matt Stafford is able to be a free man I apologize. If he is traded, I'm pretty sure he's probably able to pick where he might want to go, and hopefully Detroit will let him go to that destination. So with that being said, because me and my guy KC talked about it, and I want to hear Dooley's and Ishmael's opinion on where might Matt Stafford go when it comes to this upcoming football season.
New England.
Oh, you want to go, Ish?
Yeah, I mean, I can
Just quick. Just name a team, and then we'll circle back around on why y'all feel like that team.
New England.
Dooley.
Raiders.
Casey.
Indianapolis, I think.
And for me, it just makes sense in Indy. For me, it just makes sense. Now, I just want to show this quick little banner right quick as well. I talked about it in the pre-show. Only 2 quarterbacks in NFL history have 45,000 passing yards and less than 150 interceptions. That is Aaron Rodgers and Matt Stafford. Now, of course, when we think about Aaron Rodgers and we talk about Aaron Rodgers, we talk and we think about greatness. Is that correct? Because, of course, besides the Super Bowl ring, but because he's a great quarterback. For Matt Stafford to put up those numbers with not having the same type of supporting cast, that's pretty decent. Now, could Matt Stafford do the whole transition from going from one organization to another organization that actually puts the pieces around him? And maybe we can see Matt Stafford in a playoff run next year or in 2 years from now with a different team. And with that being said, I just like to use examples like a Ryan Tannehill, even Alex Smith. I mean, everywhere Alex Smith has been, he's been pretty productive. I know there's one more quarterback. I can't think up to. No. Anyways, Dooley loved throwing out Vince Young because he thinks he's hilarious. But I mean, unless I want to throw out Carson Palmer or Matt Leinart or any of the USC quarterbacks that have failed in the NFL. But continue though. Anyways, so with that being said, for people like KC that feel like it's Indy, why do you feel like it's Indianapolis?
I think Indy feels like they're in win now mode. They just shed a decently large contract in Phillip Rivers. I mean, it was only a 1-year deal, but they've got the space to do it. I think that's the kind of team that you're going to see most likely to come out guns blazing and ready to get this deal done, because they feel like they can win now. Some of these other teams that I've seen come up, I mean, Washington's a good one. I don't think Alex Smith is back next year. I could see something like that, because he still does have some seasons left in the tank. We know that. But some of these other maybe rebuild projects, I think New England's a rebuild project. I really do. I don't know that he's going to want to do that. I also don't think that they're going to give up what it takes to get him. That's not what New England does. That's not New England's front office. It's just we have never seen them do it. They did the Cam Newton thing as late as possible in the season. I mean, that was a failed experiment, but I mean, they're going to have to do something for sure. We sat and watched the draft, the entire draft last year, and every time New England was close to on the clock, I feel like Trey Wingo was going, is this where they take a quarterback? Because they're going to take a quarterback. We know they're going to take a quarterback, and then it never happened. So I don't know that they have faith in who they have in the system, but I don't know that that's the kind of move that New England makes, if that makes sense. But I think Indy is in win now mode. I think they feel like if they get a quarterback back there that can do the work, that they're a contender, which we just saw. I mean, Phillip Rivers played a clean game in the playoffs. First team in NFL history to put up 450 yards, not turn the ball over, and lose. So, they're in win now mode. That's why I'm going with Colts.
I think that's Phillip Rivers' career. Let's just think about it. That's Phillip Rivers' career in a nutshell. That playoff game.
No, that's not true. Phillip Rivers likes to throw fourth quarter interceptions and ice the game.
This is very true. This is very true. What I'm just stating is more about the whole being able to have the stats and have the good make it sound good or look good, but the end result is still a loss.
Well, that's what Matthew Stafford has done.
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, but again, I think the organization's a little bit different. That's all.
Yards came from. Doesn't he have the most fourth quarter comebacks or comeback drives? Isn't he right up there?
And most of those, of course, because the reason why you have comebacks is because you're losing.
This is true.
So yes, I understand that.
That's
but again,
I just don't know.
I want to hear Dooley's explanation on why you feel like he might go to the Las Vegas Raiders, knowing that John Gruden is very married to this Derek Carr situation. So I want to hear what you got to say.
Well, first of all, and tell Itch to stop looking at me like that. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I'll tell you why he needs to go to that division. The man needs to go to that division because the Raiders were 8-8 this season. They were one of the teams that were supposed to make the playoffs, actually. Okay, but unfortunately, they did not finish the season how they started. I believe losing 6 of their last 8.
They started off 6-3.
6-3, right? Then they
yeah.
lost like 6 out of 8, which is horrible. But the reason why they lost is because of Derek Carr, one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the NFL. Okay, so yeah, Carr has his spurts where he makes plays, but is Carr a better quarterback than Matt Stafford? Absolutely not. I don't think anybody on this panel would take Carr over Matt Stafford, okay? So the Raiders need somebody that can hold it down, somebody that can take them to the promised lands, somebody that can hand it off to Jacobs, okay, and move the chains, okay? That's what the Raiders need. And if I was the Raiders, first of all, Derek Carr, his contract is going out soon, okay? Man, bum him on the bench. For God's sakes, remember the game Carr got hurt? Mariota came in and balled. Mariota.
Yeah, I think Mariota's more likely to be the next guy for the Raiders than anyone else.
Right. But
there he is. He got it ready to go.
Right. Now, but if they even have a chance to get Stafford on their roster, I think they do it.
All right, Ish, what you got for us?
I don't think that's going to happen. I think Mariota is the guy. I think John Gruden likes his guys, right? And he believes that he can coach people up. And so I think he will rather try with Mariota than to pay whatever he has to pay to go get Matt Stafford. Now, speaking of paying what he has to pay, I did like that Casey brought up. He didn't think that it was the New England way to go get a guy and that they wouldn't spend what they need to spend. The one critique I have to that, the rebuttal I have is nobody has said what the market is for Matt Stafford yet. Nobody has said what Detroit will be willing to accept for Matt Stafford. And I think that's the key. I think in the NFL, there are a lot of times where we believe that certain players are going to fetch more on the market than what they actually end up getting, right? So I think the same can be said for Julio Jones down there in Atlanta, who's probably going to be moving as well. A lot of people, I've heard some people like, oh, they should get a first round for him. You're not getting a first round.
You're not getting a first for Julio. Yeah.
I would argue you may not even get a second round for Julio Jones at this point. So that is where, for me, I'm thinking Matt Stafford, Patricia just went back to New England. He may be able to sell him on it's not a complete rebuild. We got some guys that chose to opt out. We still got a decent defense. They were in a lot of the games. Really, I would argue that Cam Newton was the main reason why they didn't, compete a little bit more in some of these games. In Miami, people are talking about maybe Deshaun Watson going there, but if Deshaun Watson doesn't go there and you stuck with Tua Tagovailoa, unless you got Fitz Magic behind him, I'm still not confident in what Miami has going on over there. The only team you would really have to get past is Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. I think if I'm Matt Stafford and Matt Patricia's there, he's telling me to go over, New England might be the move. I don't think that they're going to have to give up a lot to get him. I think they'll give up just enough to get a guy that they believe could come right in and put them back in the conversation for the AFC East. Now, I do like the Indianapolis one because I think Indianapolis at this point, they're kind of like the hitman hire squad. Really, they just want a quarterback that they believe is the top ranked quarterback or up there in the conversation, and they believe they're going to be able to compete in the AFC South, which is not far off because they almost were able to win the AFC South if the Houston Texans were able to actually beat the Oilers in Week 17. But we all know the story there with that organization in Houston. So
they're great.
I would just say, I do like Indianapolis. I think if he goes to Indy, immediately Indianapolis, I would say, is probably winning the AFC South.
Can I throw out 2 wild card teams? One team is somebody that apparently one team is, of course, his hometown team, the Dallas Cowboys. He's from the Dallas area. The other team that I think a lot of people are not talking about that we need to throw in there, the New Orleans Saints. Now
yes,
they do have a cap issue, which I think is very tough for them to be able to get Stafford unless Stafford is going to cut his deal to be able to come there and play under that Sean Payton system. But I feel like if he goes to New Orleans and plays in that Sean Payton system and finally has the weapons around him and has a defense, who knows? Maybe the Saints could really pass the torch from Drew Brees to Matt Stafford, and they can maybe get back to an NFC Conference Championship game with Stafford. Disagree? Agree? No, I mean you kind of shaking your head on that one.
Why are you shaking your head, KC?
I think Jameis is the guy in New Orleans.
Wow.
I think he deserves a shot. I think Jameis would have taken this Buccaneers team just about as far as Tom Brady has.
He deserves a shot.
Yeah.
You think Jameis would have took this Buccaneers team to this Buccaneers team to what?
A million weapons.
He would have took him out. He would have took him to the buffet if they had crab legs.
I mean, that's a deal gone wrong. We don't want to go there.
Whoever's in the room with you, Casey, they need to take that beer away from you. You need to be cut off.
No, send me one. Send me one, because obviously it's the good stuff over there.
Clearly, you might be like 10 in or something if you think Jameis Winston was going to take the Buccaneers to the NFC Championship game. And I don't think that he's the next man up, because when Drew Brees got hurt, they didn't play him. I can't get that's right there. Honestly, for me, if I'm Jameis, after I saw that, I have to leave. Because if you putting Taysom Hill in front of me, I'm the actual quarterback. We all know Taysom is a gadget quarterback, and you put Taysom in there in front of me, bro, I'm gone. Yeah, I mean, I can't see Jameis being their guy, because they didn't feel confident enough to play Jameis when Drew Brees went down, unless they were hiding him or there was something else that went on. And maybe there was, because let's just be honest, these NFL teams are not always forthright with what, their plans are or anything like that. Maybe they knew that was their guy and they wanted to keep him. They didn't want to show anything like Teddy Bridgewater, right? I would argue
they're going to have to outbid some teams. Teams are going to come calling. He's a free agent. It's a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know how many teams. We're going to have to see how this quarterback carousel works out. That's the thing, because there's so much information right now that it's tough to make a pick for who's going where, because you need to see how Deshaun, how that works out. We need to see how this Stafford thing works out. And I think they sort of start falling in place.
Eventually. It was just like last year, just a year ago, when we had to figure out where Tom was going, where Cam was going, where all these, until somebody made a move. That's when everything else started having the trickle down effect.
But I think one of the things that there's certain positions, certain places that need a quarterback that we already know what's going to happen, right? So let's take Jacksonville, for example. We already know Trevor Lawrence is going to Jacksonville. So unless they are looking to bridge between Trevor Lawrence coming into the league and get a 1-year guy, which I don't think is going to happen, then I don't think Jacksonville's open anymore. I think New York, the only question is, do they feel confident enough with Sam Darnold? I think New York is probably the biggest question mark, because with the Deshaun Watson news out there and Deshaun saying New York is his preferred destination, or sources are claiming that, I think that leaves the New York job kind of in an iffy spot, right? So that's a question mark. I think you look at Indianapolis, if they don't get Matt Stafford, who are they going to go with? That's the question mark right there, right? And I think Indy is the number one team, as far as they're probably the first domino that falls, because they are in the spot where they get to make that call of who they think is the best fit for that team and who they want to give the money to. So I think Indy's the first place that falls. They're going to pick their guy first, and then everybody else goes after that. I don't know. I just don't see that many openings out there. I think Matt Stafford is the one guy that's going to be able to choose. I think if Deshaun Watson moves, he's going to obviously choose which one he wants to go to. And then from there, it's really, Jameis Winston, I think he's kind of stuck in New Orleans unless he wants to go back up somewhere.
Now, I've also heard reports that he might want to join Cincinnati and be the backup for Joe Burrow, and also maybe play the first couple of games before Joe Burrow is able to come back from his ACL injury.
I don't know.
We'll see.
Job in football, right? Unless you got to actually play, you get paid a lot of money to watch a football game.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong. Hey, I mean, you can go ahead and ask the Texans' almost new head coach, Josh McCown. Josh McCown has been able to get paid very, very hefty for being able to watch live games from the bench, and now might be able to be a head coach real soon. Yeah, so I mean, hey, I agree with you, KC, out there. Being a backup quarterback is probably one of the best jobs to have. What's up?
Hey, you with one more job? One more, I think. Possibility. Keep an eye on San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah,
I think there's a world potentially where Jimmy G finds his way back
to New England. I know you're gonna say that. I know you're gonna say that.
Watson's out there on George Kittle's Instagram feed hanging out. That terrifies me. I mean, it didn't even say
I think that's scary.
A quarterback on that, a good quarterback on that team, even if it's Stafford, man, it's scary. That team gets
I agree, and I think most people probably thought it was going to be Deshaun going to San Francisco. If it's Stafford, I think Stafford is right. I'm sorry, I think Stafford puts San Francisco right back into the running of things.
I got
for
a
the
question
NFC.
for y'all. There's one job that we didn't mention that I'm interested to see what people think, because I think this is a potential job. If I'm a veteran quarterback, that I want a chance to maybe start, maybe not at the beginning of the season, but in the second half of the season, and they have a good run game, they have an okay defense, but they may be able to work on that. Minnesota. I think Minnesota is a job that if you're a veteran quarterback, you might go sit behind Kirk Cousins because the fire is on Kirk. I think that Kirk Cousins is the reason why he wasn't so much in the hot seat is they don't have a guy behind Kirk Cousins right now. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Can I name a team that might be even better that's in that same division? Chicago Bears.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I mean, well, they might just go ahead and
Chicago probably to me has a better defense, and they have some pretty decent offensive weapons. You just need a quarterback.
Right now, we'll see. Allen Robinson's going to be catching balls in Miami.
We shall see on that one. I appreciate you, gentlemen, for joining me today on the Sports Plug. We have live football in about 4.5 hours, or something. It's 4 hours and 10 minutes, I should say. So I'm gonna let my guys go so y'all can do y'all pregame rituals and get ready for these conference championship games. I'm about to get ready, and I hope we have some good ones.
Because that Jameis Winston, I said you need to slow down, KC, because that Jameis Winston comment, man.
You ain't lying. Hey, no. He went hard after Jameis Winston. He went ahead, took two more big old gulps after that one.
If you don't turn the ball over, he's a good quarterback.
I agree.
You can say that about a lot of quarterbacks.
That's the Bruce system. He can air the ball out. Tom Brady can't. I'm telling you right now. Tom Brady is being asked to do less than Jameis Winston.
Hey, he did get the laser eye surgery, so it's possible that he's a new guy. He could be a new guy now.
Hey,
Dooley, what's up, Dooley?
I just gotta ask KC a question that me, X, and Ish debated earlier this season, and they both agreed on.
I wanted to bring that up, Dooley.
Agreed on it. But anyways, you two don't say nothing. KC, who would you rather, Stafford or Ryan?
Oh, not that.
No, I'm just that's not
what I was going to bring up.
I just want to see what he says, because obviously you guys dominated me on this, even though I don't care. I'm still going to stick with this thing. I
think it's Stafford.
Bang!
I think it's Stafford.
The kid's been playing.
Okay,
he's been playing for the Lions his whole career.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, you just brought up organization. Let me ask you this: if Stafford had played for a better organization, don't you think he would have that much of a better career?
We don't know, Dooley. We don't know. We don't know. If was a fifth, we'll all be drunk. We don't know, Dooley.
Question about something that we all actually know, and that Casey, you can speak on this because we had this debate last week, and Dooley got mad. You said, Dooley, last week, Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Oh, my God.
Phillip Rivers or Matt Stafford in the Hall of Fame? Who you got?
I got to put one up.
We didn't debate that, though.
We don't need to debate that.
I'm bringing that up because, X brought the stat up, and he made a pretty good stat.
Only two quarterbacks in NFL history.
And it's Stafford and Aaron Rodgers. And your complaint about Phillip Rivers was like, oh, he didn't have the people around him, so on and so forth. Now we're looking at Matt Stafford, who clearly better stats than Phillip Rivers. So
hold on, better stats. Phillip Rivers is number 5 in touchdowns.
Yes, and he's also the only quarterback to have those stats and never make it to the Super Bowl. But continue.
Okay, good job. Still Hall of Fame stats.
Okay.
Anywhere you go, he's a Hall of Famer. So what? The man is number 5 in touchdowns.
Let's hear what Casey has to say before we get out of here.
I'm probably not a fair judge because I absolutely hate Phillip Rivers. So, being a Chiefs fan, watching him cry on the sidelines for years has been my favorite pastime.
I agree. I agree.
Block do it, I think. I'm not sure. But I don't know. I get the argument for him as a Hall of Fame quarterback. I just don't think it happens. There's an argument there. You go back to that draft class. It's Eli. It's not And that I'll take a lot of to see the
Eli and Ben.
Thank you. That's they were giving him before Phillip Rivers.
Ben's gonna get it. Don't get me wrong, it's gonna happen. But go back and look at his stats after he won that first Super Bowl. It's bad.
It's not that great. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But I think he's going
Aaron
to
Rodgers
get
beat him in the Super Bowl. If we want to wrap it all back to where we're at now.
Nothing without a dominant defense. Period. Ben would have won.
And Antonio Brown, and he had weapons. He's had weapons for a while. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think Rivers gets in, but I think it's close. I think it's just a weird voting thing, and
it is.
It matter a lot.
So you think Stafford doesn't get in as well?
Stafford could get himself a ring.
As we're gonna say, if Stafford when he leaves and he creates his own his new 5 to 7 year career and wins a ring, he gets into the ring because of now his second act. Phillip Rivers, he had an opportunity to leave San Diego if he wanted to. He chose not to stay there. He chose to stay there and be with Antonio Gates for 16 out of the 17 years he was there. So again, for him to have a Hall of Fame tight end and all these other weapons Phillip Rivers has and still not do anything, stop it. Stop it. I'm tired of talking about Phillip Rivers because he's overrated.
You're tired? Okay. So anyways, going back to what you just said about Stafford, considering the fact
he had Megatron, right? That's what you about to say?
No. Consider you said, he's on a new stint. He's got to win one. He doesn't have to win anything. If he keeps playing how he's playing in his career, the stats Stafford is putting up.
Passing yards are not going to get you into the Hall of Fame by itself.
You do not need to win a Super Bowl.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
Okay, so
Joe Montana. I'm sorry. Hold up. Broadway Joe is in the Super Bowl, is in the Hall of Fame because of doing this, because of beating the Baltimore Colts and winning the Super Bowl, not because of his stats. His stats are horrible. If you go look,
name it. He's not as good as Stafford.
I'm letting you know they do not go off of just stats. They go off of accolades. It's about what you brought to the NFL. Thank you, Ish. It's a passing league. I don't care about 55,000 passing yards from Phillip Rivers if you don't do nothing in the playoffs.
So let me ask you this. Quick question. Does every quarterback in the Hall of Fame have a ring? Yes or no?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yes or no?
No, Dooley. No.
You name what quarterback on top of your head and then who is in without a Super Bowl ring?
Dan Marino.
This man just told me you need.
First of all, don't disrespect Dan Marino. Dan Marino is not Phillip Rivers, dude. We're not doing that right now.
No, it don't matter. Marino's not the only quarterback without a ring in the Hall.
And first of all, Dan Marino went to a Super Bowl.
I don't care.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Super Bowl to beat the Hall of Fame and stand by it.
I said it helps your case to get into the Hall of Fame, and also as well. We about to get up out of here because we spent a little too much time with this stupid ass topic. I'm tired of the damn topic.
It ain't dumb. It's a good argument.
No, it's not.
It is.
Because if Phillip Rivers get in, he's gonna get on the 10th ballot. He's gonna get on literally on the last one because there are players in the NFL that were literally the best of their generation or the best of their decade and still didn't get in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
What about Drew Pearson? There's players out here that just unfortunately because of the way, like KC talked about, the voting system, the way that they vote on the way that the process goes about voting in who they need to vote in the Hall of Fame, honestly, is disrespectful and it's stupid. If you telling me that T.O. is not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but Randy Moss is, that is stupid. Both wide receivers are first ballot Hall of Famers, but because y'all feel some type of way about T.O., y'all want to hold him from being into the Hall of Fame. Anybody that watches football knows T.O. is a Hall of Famer, and T.O. wanted to do it his way, and I shout out to him for doing it his way because at the end of the day, if the Hall of Fame want to be that selective and be a-holes on who gets in because we don't like you and you don't do it this way, then so be it. Because at the end of the day,
it might be different though for Phillip Rivers because he is a quarterback. I think what works in Phillip Rivers' favor is the fact that he plays the position that gets the most love in the NFL, right?
And the most hate.
I think that may be a place that he sneaks in because he's a quarterback.
He's not getting in.
I think
KC.
I don't think he should be in.
I want to hear KC.
Also, look at the number of quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame. It's not as big of a number as you would think. And you just got to sort of look at the names that are going to go before him. Even throw out his stats, throw out all of his accolades, everything. You know that Ben's
Peyton.
probably going to go in before him. You're going to see
both Mannings and Brady, and we still got
see a lot of quarterbacks go in, and I think that also will play into the voting where it's like, man, we just loaded up with quarterbacks. We got to push off and sort of, and that's no slight against Rivers. I guess I'm, like I said, not a Rivers fan, but I just don't think he's going to get there. If I were betting on it, I would say
because every year they got to make sure they put an offensive lineman in there. They got to put a linebacker. They got to put you can't put in 17 quarterbacks in one Hall of Fame class. Like they're not doing that.
You got to look at who he's going to be on the ballot with.
Exactly.
And, all of that. That's an important distinction. I mean, who else retires this year?
Right. Yeah, no, I definitely don't.
So they're going to come up with the Hall of Fame at the same time. Drew Brees is getting that.
Yeah,
Drew Brees is getting it. Yeah, Drew Brees is getting it before Rivers. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
The first time around, it's not happening. Then you look at the next time around. Who retires next year? Brady? Maybe? Well, Brady's getting it, and they ain't putting Phil in. That's how that's going to work.
Right.
You just got to sort of – unfortunately, that's how these things work. And he's going to get pushed down ballot, and he's not going to end up in there. That's the way I think it rolls out. But, man, who knows?
I mean, when you got people like Jim Kelly, Bob Greasy, Dan Fouts, please. Phillips getting in.
They've all been to a Super Bowl.
I don't care.
They've all been to a Super Bowl.
They didn't win the Super Bowl.
But they went to, and Jim Kelly went to 4.
Hey, football
They
is
went to the Super Bowl.
ultimate team sport.
You're right. You're 100% correct.
Except for when it comes to the Hall of Fame.
It's not based off a quarterback alone.
The Hall of Fame is based on your personal accolades, sir. It's not based on your team accolades.
Okay. And Phillip Rivers has better personal accolades
In the regular season. That is it. That is it. Take the regular season away and show me what he done in the postseason and when it matters.
Did he win any MVPs?
No.
Okay, then.
No, I don't think so. No.
No, he didn't. No, never. No.
He didn't win any MVPs. He didn't make it to the Super Bowl.
He probably won AFC Conference Player of the Month. He probably won that. You can use that for a Hall of Fame.
You guys are basing it off your feet. If you guys were Phillip,
Ain't nobody basing it off of feelings. No, we're basing it off of what I see on the field.
If you guys were Phillip Rivers, would you guys feel like you should be in the Hall of Fame?
If I threw the ball like a shot putter, I don't even deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
If I played one down in the NFL, I'll feel like I should have been in the Hall of Fame. I mean, I think every NFL player has the ego that they feel like they're the best, or like, oh, if
you have to though,
in this, then I would have been able to do this. Or
you have to though.
Like, yeah, obviously Phillip Rivers is gonna believe he should be in the Hall of Fame, and he has the numbers that he could argue, like, hey, I deserve to be in that conversation. Now, like I said, there are things stacking up against him though. He doesn't have any MVPs. He didn't make it to a Super Bowl. Like, those are things that when you look at a quarterback, whether right or wrong, people are going to look at his resume and say, man, he never won an MVP. He never made it to the Super Bowl. How can we put this guy into the
No, it's fine. It's fine. Whoever presents his speech, we're going to talk about all his playoff accolades. We're going to talk about his great MVP season. We're going to talk about his Super Bowl run. I can't wait to talk about Phillip Rivers when he gets presented his gold jacket, because we're going to talk about so many great things Phillip Rivers has done when it comes to talking smack to other players, when it comes to dadgummit, when it comes to all these great things that Phillip Rivers has done. Phillip, just go ahead and go back home in your Winnebago and just go make some more kids, because it ain't happening, son. Now, your kids might make it to the Hall of Fame, and Daddy can present the speech for him. But sorry, Phillip, it ain't gonna be you. Sorry.
Phillip Rivers will get in before T.O. Yeah, I said it.
T.O.'s already in.
T.O.'s already in there.
It happened this year.
Dooley. And on that note, we're gonna go ahead and end it for. And on that note, we're gonna go ahead and end it for today. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of y'all's day and enjoy these games, because Dooley need to go ahead and go do some research right quick.
Well, you the way you spoke of it, you spoke. Oh, Moss got in. What?
Moss got in last year. T.O. got in a couple years ago, but he did his presentation at his old college at Tennessee at Chattanooga because he didn't like the way that the process happened with the Hall of Fame. I know you know this because we talked about this. It's early over there, so I'm gonna let you make it. It's early in Cali. I'm gonna let you make it. You my guy, but at the end of the day, Phillip still ain't getting in the Hall of Fame. So with that being said,
better than T.O. Yeah, continue. Yeah, Moss was better than T.O. I don't give a damn.
T.O.'s better, but anyways, like I said, we're gonna go ahead and hit it up on today. I appreciate my guys for joining me on the Sports Plug today, and we'll have a recap show most likely on Tuesday if everybody is available on Tuesday. Everybody's available?
I have to check.
All right. Hopefully we'll be back on Tuesday, talk about the conference championship games, and talk about the Super Bowl. For next time on the Sports Plug, see y'all.